Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Wistoria episode 3, in which... Actually kind of hard to tell what's gonna happen. We are still very much seemingly in a period of this show. How many episodes is it even? We don't know. I'm betting at least double core. But yeah, we're still in this area, in this period of the show where we are kind of establishing things a little bit, right? Where it's still very much episodic. If it was a different kind of show, this would be the part where it's essentially like Monster of the Week or Battle of the Week or whatever, right? But yeah, so far every episode has been pretty self-contained, so it's kind of hard to think of what's going to come after, right? But in the previous episode, what happened exactly? Will got tested by Professor Snape, and by Snape I mean Edward. Edward, who went to the headmistress Cauldron, asking her to be given the asking her to expel Will, first of all. But then he eventually conceded and conceded to a let's call it what it was, to a duel, essentially. If Will wins the duel, he gets like a couple of points from spell throwing, spellcraft, or whatever it's called, and if Will loses, then he gets expelled. Classic story beat, really. And the entire second half was Will fighting for dear life early on, because he did not have his sword. And apparently, as strong as he is, and still being able to defend himself to some degree from Edward's spells, even without a sword, it's mostly the sword that gives him the oomph, so to speak. Thankfully, his familiar Kiki beaten up for some reason. I wanted to say, well, for the reason of Kiki also taking part in the battle, but I'm so used to familiars never getting hurt that my first instinct is, oh, what? Why was the familiar hurt, right? In any case, yeah, Kiki went to Will's locker to get the sword. Of course, couldn't, because how is an animal supposed to open a locker? Thankfully, Lotte. Why do I keep calling her Charlotte? She's Colette. Thankfully, Colette opened that, grabbed the sword, ran after Will, threw him the sword, and well, that was essentially a wipe out from that moment on. Well, not entirely, right? Like, Will was not completely overpowering there. He was fighting competently, and ultimately he did win by scoring a hit. But it was a fairly even match, even still, even with Will having a weapon. So yeah, there is that bit of that remaining bit of discrepancy, I guess, between a magic user and a non-magic user, where the strongest magic user... What the fuck is this bug? Go away. Where one of the stronger magic users is still stronger, probably, let's be honest here, than the strongest non-magic user. As far as humans go, at least, because we know that there are other races. And that was probably like I don't want to say the biggest part of the episode, because it wasn't, the duel was, but the important bit of world building, I guess, that there exist other races indeed, and apparently they are not native to this world, but rather arrived from somewhere, right? Elves got isekai'd here, dwarves also got isekai'd here, and they just are here. That's basically it. That's basically all we know about them. Well, we know that they are probably underneath the shield barrier thing erected by the Magiavander. Yeah, I remembered. So the area that the shield, the barrier covers, should be decently large. We also learned about the war that the dwarves waged briefly against the mages, and the dwarves lost like 10,000 dwarves against like a single wizard who bears certain resemblance to Edward Boy. So they lost still. So that again shows us just the sheer strength, sheer power of magic, where not even, a mass of people can stand up to a single trained mage. Sorry if I'm sniffing a little bit, by the way, but I have this fun running basically 24/7, and I kind of have to keep it running because otherwise I would die, because it's 28.9 actually degrees. It got a little bit colder. And yeah, the fan kind of gives me the sniffles a little bit. So what do I expect from today's episode? Again, I don't know. We are kind of hinting at the dwarves, right? That they might be relevant somehow to the story, maybe have some sort of a connection to Will. We are hinting at Eddie Boy having some dark past, trying to become a Magiavander and not becoming a Magiavander despite being able to. There's, some shenanigans there. There are some hints at some sort of common history that Eddie and Werkner share, so we might go basically any which way. We might get to meet Will's roommate, although it's more like a housemate, because it really seems like they have an entire house for themselves. Who's a dude who awaits Will's arrival in basically anything short of a naked apron with, bath, dinner, or attaché. So that's gonna be interesting to see. And yeah, I think that about does it for the summary of the previous episode, and what can I expect from today's. Because the truth of the matter is that we are still not in the period of the show where we would have any sort of, overarching arc that we can maybe figure out where it's gonna go, more or less. Yeah, I think that does it. So how about I just stop talking and we start watching, right? Shall we? To do it, you will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Wistoria episode 3 in 3, 2, 1, go. Is it the scene where he got goggles? Yes. Right, in the previous episode we also learned a little bit about Will's arrival at the school, right? How he was treated essentially as an accessory for Elfie. So Werkner had him under his wing already back then. Hmm. at this point, I'm actually wondering if there is something else special about those goggles, because they get just so much focus. Both in the opening, and it's like the second time we see the scene of Elfie giving him those goggles, so wouldn't surprise me if there was something like, I don't know, they let you see the traces of magic or whatever. Or it's, you know, just a completely mundane object, but it gets focused because it's important, because it symbolizes their promise, which is, again, entirely plausible as well. And they're broken. What could... I have no clue what could that symbolize, really. Besides my vague theory that Will makes it so that the promise doesn't need to be fulfilled this exact way, because he's gonna tear down the barrier, tear down whatever's beyond that, and they're not gonna watch the sunset at the top of the tower, but rather on some random hill or whatever. Delivering mail, or newspapers rather. A dwarf? Maybe, or just a blacksmith. Yeah, you gotta work on your coordination, but apparently not. Yeah, missed one. Who's gonna step on it? Oh. I half expected, like, Sion to appear and just stomp on it or something. Okay, so I assume that she got the position of Magia Vander because she created a new kind of magic. Oh. Okay, so Will can do some, I don't know, stuff for her. Probably. He does seem like an artificer. She? That's a female Seiyu. Or maybe not. Damn, he's ripped! Okay. I was not expecting this body type from him. I probably should have, but I didn't. Yeah, so I was correct that Rosti is essentially his cue. We don't have toasters, so you get a bun instead. Okay, significant dungeon. Actually, interesting that the Magic City would be built around, or at the same area that the dungeon is, isn't it? There probably is some sort of a purpose to that. Like, I don't know, maybe actually the source of magic exists at floor 100 or something like that. Yeah. Exactly. Will was dealing with much stronger monsters. Is it unique to Will that he's able to see his magical aura? I wonder. Or is it something that... Right, like, for someone who seemingly has no magic, he's able to see magic pretty damn well. Assuming this was Will vision and not just shown to us, the viewers. And it's not even stained with blood. New friend? Probably new friend. Iris. Okay, examples. Okay. It's gonna be named after you. Cool. I mean, it really makes the whole thing seem all that much more like science, right? Like if you discover a planet or a star or a new, I don't know, kind of a slug or whatever, you get the dibs on naming it. That's a lot of spells, yeah. Yeah, she created not just one single new magic, but multiple. Well, guess who uses ice magic? Of course it's gonna be the blue boy. Is she? Not that many students, I'd also like to notice. I mean, probably. She is the thing that drives him, so of course it would be for her. And where else would he be if not in the dungeon? You just saved her life. Why would it bother her? Case in point. And as I said, new friend. What is the order even? Maybe I missed it, but I don't think it was said what actually the order is. Okay, so we get like a straight confirmation that this is the case. No, like, room to speculate, nothing. It is a barrier. Cuts them off from the world. Mm-hmm. Oh, how did that happen? Oh, so it was before she was sent to the tower, I guess. I love their use of the cinematic bars. All frozen, of course. She uses ice magic. I guess Elfie has another member in her fan club. This is her tower clothes, though. Not her school uniform. If she speaks the truth, then what was Elfie doing in the dungeon? Well, she's supposed to be sitting in the tower. Yeah, I really think the dungeon is more significant than just providing, I don't know, resources and a place for the students to train. Something frozen? Meaning? Big frostwalkers? Yeah, strong frostwalkers. Yeah, so what? He's book smart. Right, I mean, there is plenty of monsters who don't use magic fighting, right? Grapple hook and a bunch of balls on a string. What's that supposed to be, I wonder? So that's an ice walker. That was a cool, like, you know, stop, and that was a cool motion. This thing is built like a tank. Okay, so not a Frostwalker then. Or are all frost monsters collectively known as Frostwalkers? Oh, thank you that we are back to having the details translated. Cool, okay. We're gonna read that in the discussion segment. Okay, so yeah, Frostwalkers are the collective term to use here. Hit him strong enough and... Oh, is that why he has the magical instrument? Okay. He can just attach this thing to his glove. And what does it do exactly? Is there like napalm inside of those balls or something? Like incendiary grenades, maybe? Or is he gonna do the AT-AT and tie his legs? Was that AT-AT in Star Wars that got its legs tied? Or was it AT-ST? I can't remember, honestly. Been ages since I've seen Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the grapple just works like grapple. That's some strong string. And it really doesn't seem like this thing is immune to melee attacks. Are the balls gonna heat up the string, or they're just gonna explode? That also works. Good old frag grenade. Never fails. That's some cool effects here. Oh, so this is basically a very long... Is it called a wick? The thing that sticks out of a bomb or whatever. Wick is in a candle, but is it the same for like a stick of TNT, or... No, it's not a wick. It's called something else. Easy. Question is there gonna be anything left that you can take for proof? Or just a crater with some nice fresh water? Something glowing, like a monster core, I would assume. Yeah, the fact that he does not have magic of his own doesn't mean he cannot use magic. Who are you, Iris? Who are you reporting to? Okay, so we know she... That's the... That's the end of the episode? What? Where the fuck did the time go? I thought we were only just beginning. Like, what? Unreal Engine 5. Where are they using that? For their CG things? Maybe. For general compositing? I don't know. Hard to tell. I know that I somewhat often say that an episode felt like no time has passed at all, but this time it's like for real, like it really took me by surprise that this is the end. Now, sure, we get an after credit scene, and that's great, but still. Oh, I see Unreal Engine 5. Who are you? Eddie Boy's pet? Cauldron's spy? Or a spy to the Magia Vendor? Okay. I was about to say that it's the student council, but... Right, fate of the day. Someone useful, yeah. Yep. I like him. I like him. Yep. Well, presumably he earned his position here somehow, so... Grand Magical Festival, I assume it's like the... whatchamacallit, sports festival. Or a Colosseum battle to the death. Sure, could be that. And of course, Elfie is the only one remaining. That's the thingamajig that he got. Okay, cool. She didn't forget, she didn't, you know, change to fit with the assholes on the council. Cool. Good, good. Okay, so I'm assuming episode 4 and onwards is gonna be the, for the lack of a better term, the sports festival arc, essentially. Hopefully it's not gonna be sports festival from fucking prison school. Boy, that was a slog. But yeah, okay. Let's watch it again. By the way, if you didn't know yet, the Olympics are happening, so Wistoria next week is not gonna be. That was an awkward way to phrase it. But yeah, no Wistoria next week. Apparently there's going to be a special broadcast, which I assume is going to be either a rerun of episode 3, or it's going to be a mashup, or it's going to be... I don't know. Something. Which kind of sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. Right. Regardless, Wistoria. Yeah, we get the promise again. Even if I can't use magic, even if everything tries to tear us apart, yeah. The big promise made with her. And a promise made to himself to never be weak again. Essentially. That's what it amounts to. I really like this sort of a dynamic. Wherever it appears, really. I really like the dynamic of a dude who can use cool tools and a dude who can make cool tools. It's... I don't know, I really find it cool. I haven't seen much of James Bond, not really, but that was probably my favorite part of the ones that I've seen, right? The fact that Q had all these cool spy gadgets. I remember really liking... it was some sort of a superhero movie. I can't remember the title for the love of me, though, and my headphones are shedding, apparently. But it was... it was a dude wearing like a steel armor. Was it like Steel Knight? Something like that. And their HQ was in like a scrapyard. And he had that guy who was making him all sorts of gadgets and adding like flamethrowers and shit to his armor. And it was like, I don't know, proto Iron Man or whatever. I think it might have been Steel Knight. I liked it. It was a, you know, old-ish, fairly campy movie, the way that only movies from that era could be, but I really enjoyed it for that, you know, thing where one person makes tools for the other to use. Cool. Really, really cool. Orbus Rigarden. The capital of magic. Anything interesting in the landscape? Is that a train? I don't think so. Yeah, nothing particularly interesting in the landscape. I like the architecture here. I like the attention to the architecture here. There is some like weeping mortar, almost looking buildings. Cool. No, it's not weeping mortar. It's just dirty bricks. Yeah, working student. I'm assuming this is the guy who's making Will his sword, at least. Maybe armor, the like undershirt armor thing that he has. Maybe. I mean, he seems like a blacksmith, although he has a backhoe on his... Backhoe, no. It would be one hell of a feat to have a backhoe on your back. No, he has just a regular hoe on his back. So, is he a blacksmith? Is he just a farmer? I don't know. He's probably gonna reappear, though. That much is basically certain. Albizvina Elfaria creates new original magic. Another one, apparently. The first to achieve the remarkable feat of inventing 12 magics. That's a lot. Order down to the entire academy. The client is Elfaria herself, and we are to get, I don't know, some magic ice crystals. Detached dorm. Well, that's an interesting way to say a hut in the woods. Why did they get this sort of a detached dorm, though? That's a question. Right? I mean, obvious answer is let the weirdo leave someone else, basically. But, I mean, I'd rather have a house like that all for myself and my gay lover rather than live in cramped dorms in the academy, right? So it's not much of a punishment for the weirdo, is it? It's a bit of luxury for him. It raises a question, why is Rosti here, though? Doesn't it? Because he decided to pursue being an artificer instead of using magic, or something like that, and it's seen as dishonorable? Probably something like that. Maybe his magic is weak, so get him to live with the dude who has no magic, right? Oh ho ho, the two non-magic guys are living with each other. Jolly good joke. What's the VA? I gotta check, because it's female VA, isn't it? Is he even listed? He's gotta be. I'm sorry that I'm coming back to the VAs, because I checked them all already before, but VA is not listed for Rosti, apparently. Which is, you know, it kinda makes me feel better that I have no way of knowing who he is, because we did not check who he is, actually. Maybe my animalist will have him, I wonder. Yeah. Tsue to Tsurugi. Characters and stuff. Man, I wish this site loaded faster. Where are you, Rosti? There he is, and the VA is not listed either. What? Everybody has Japanese and English VAs listed. Except Rosti, who doesn't even have the JP VA listed. Huh. Interesting. Is it like anonymous? Maybe someone working... I mean, if it was someone working under a... some sort of a... whatchamacallit? Creative alias or whatever, then they would just give the alias. Did someone just want to do it anonymously? I don't know. Regardless, let's not get stuck on that. What about your lessons? No class today. Tough job. Holy shit! I did not expect this. I did not expect this reveal. His fucking diamonds. Motherfuckers cut like shit. With a baby face like that, I did not expect this sort of a physique. Never in my life. And the fact that strength usually has nothing to do with physique in anime, for the most part, did not help. Right? Like, usually a person could be like, oh, this is the strongest student in the entire academy, and it's just a lanky boy with noodle arms and flat chest and stomach, and he's just magically strong. Or like in Kaiju number 8, the Mina, yeah, Mina, who was it? Yeah, Kikoru. Kikoru noticed Mina in the dressing room, and she was like, "Oh, Mina senpai, how are you? Your muscles? Can you teach me how you get muscles like that?" And Mina's arms are just like my fucking wrist. I got used to that. So this really came as a shock. It makes sense. It absolutely makes sense for him to have this sort of a physique of a motherfucking bodybuilder covered with scars and all. But never in my life did I expect it. Never in my life. Again, especially not with a baby face like that. Like, there's plenty of characters in anime who are absolutely shredded and have a metric ton of muscles, but they usually show it, right? It's usually like an older guy, or maybe like a bold bodybuilder, or, you know, those sorts of archetypes. The only exception would be fucking Washio from Dumbbell, right? So, yeah. Big shock. Already made improvements. Artificer, yeah. Artificer and cook and your personal housewife, essentially. Mage Queen Mercedes said, all is born from the dungeon. There's some sort of a big, huge fucking significance to the dungeon that we are not yet privy to. Oh, shit. This thing's falling apart. Yeah, I'm gonna fix it later. What could it be about the dungeon exactly? I have no clue. But there is something important about it. Fuck, it's only episode 3 and I'm already like this close to filling the page. You can't see it well, but yeah. And there's like a half page already filled on the previous page, so regardless. Dungeon is very important, right? Like, the dungeon seems to have been already known in very old times. Those are essentially like Egyptian hieroglyphics. So their equivalent of that time. Was it already when the tower existed, or was it before the Watcher, Celestial Watcher, or whatever it's called? Probably before that, but the dungeon was already here. That makes me wonder if perhaps the city here was created in this specific place, not because of the tower, but because of the dungeon. And then they decided to erect the tower in the capital city. I don't know. We'll see. All is born from the dungeon. Children of magic, take your knowledge and wisdom and walk its paths, turn the unknown into the known and conquer it. Everything is connected. All is born from the dungeon. What does it mean? What does that mean? The dungeon is a secret passage to another world? Is that how elves and dwarves made it here? through the dungeon? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, a lot of people fighting those. Impressive as ever, Sion. I mean, using fire magic to defeat ice monsters is not particularly big. Sion's amazing. Right, did you say it because you saw him defeat those ice monsters? That would be but a sneeze for you. Or are you saying that because you see his aura? Because if Will can see Sion's aura, then Will is not entirely non-magical. If he can interact with magic in a non-physical way, like, I don't know, breaking a rod to get teleported or crushing a crystal to cause a fireball or whatever, but rather, you know, his body can interact with magic, then he's not completely non-magical. And my theory about Will having inner magic rather than outer magic is that much closer to validation. Will can see magical auras. Going deeper, yeah, easy. Easy win. Didn't use any magic, used the sword. I'm assuming that she, Iris, wasn't here like specifically for Will. I'm assuming she was here waiting for someone to maybe rescue her, and if there is someone who can rescue her from 5 bloodthirsty penguins, chances are that that someone is worthy of attention, and it just happens to be Will? Maybe. I did not get the vibe that she was waiting specifically for Will here. Then again, she's a very good actress, so she might have got me fooled as well. Creating new magic is a profound achievement, yeah. And, well, they're doing the common mistake of compositing CG over 2D, and that is CG thing moves on ones while everything else moves on twos, and thus it's unnaturally smooth in comparison with everything around it. I was expecting better in this regard. Dax Darbicans was made by a dude named Darbicans, and if you make a magic, it's gonna be called after you. Cool. Again, it gives legitimacy to magic as a science, because a very similar thing is done with, you know, scientific research and scientific discoveries, rather. I think it's been like since time immemorial that if you discover something, you get the dibs on naming it. Yeah, I can't think of any like particular event that would cause that change. Regardless, I'm overusing this word, aren't I? I see the blue boy already here. Cool, that's consistent. Yeah, I see him in the background here as well. Alfara is really that good? Yes, she is. Unbelievably so. 12 original spells. Ice magic is the most powerful right now. Is the power of magic overall somehow dependent on the amount of spells in that branch of magic? Maybe? Or is it them just, you know, claiming that it is the case, right? Interesting. Childhood friend who wills chasing after. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I got turned around in that sentence. I thought it says childhood friend who will chasing after, but I missed the apostrophe S. I like her. She's meddlesome. She's a menace, and she has sharp teeth. Rosé. Jealous doesn't seem to be the case. Colette seems fairly dense in this regard. Or seemed, at least, because from what she says right now, she actually is maybe a little bit jelly. Or at least aware of the fact that Will is doing all he's doing for Elfaria. He's a senpai with no magic. We don't know the real sky, even now our world is hidden. When the barrier falls, the world will once again be enveloped in darkness and the calamity will begin. We students strive to meet orders, not only because we admire the Magia Vander, but because it's our little brick in the wall supporting the sky. Cool. I like this dynamic, honestly, of a group of like elite mages at the top and a magical academy who's, yes, dedicated to teaching, but also dedicated to supporting those mages, both by producing whatever resources the tower requests through the students who can also earn points in the process, so everybody wins essentially, but also through training those new prospective mages who might eventually make it into the tower and help keep the sky up in a more direct way. Cool. Met Lady Elfaria, and this entire story is of course made up, which I guess in retrospect makes sense that it would be made up, because why is Elfaria not wearing her school uniform if she was actually in the dungeon to hunt monsters to get points for her classes? Or otherwise, why is she in the dungeon on a level with students and not on, I don't know, level 60 or somewhere that a Magia Vander would be challenged on, while already being a Magia Vander? So either the story is made up, or this is actually, I don't know, Elfaria noticed that Iris is a person who could be useful, and so she arrived into the dungeon and recruited her right here. I don't know. A lot of smears. I really, really like the use of smears. And in general, the understanding of animation that this show really showcases. Plenty of smears, plenty of in-betweens, the, you know, principle of squash and stretch, the, you know, all of that. All of that. Not picking up anything with search, but he's picking something up with his usual senses. Magic is amazing, but I don't think it's absolute. I think this might actually be the thing that the Magia Vander and the tower in general might need, right? A little bit of a new perspective on what's going on, a little bit of a different approach, right? Like, okay, we fought the calamity with magic already, and the humanity basically lost and had to enclose themselves under the barrier. But have they tried fighting the calamity in melee, right? Maybe evil god Zalgothrax is completely immune to magic, but stab him in the heart and he dies like an immortal, right? Maybe. And yeah, of course, even I have some knowledge and wisdom. All of that can be learned from the classes that he attends, from the books that he reads. He doesn't necessarily, like, in general, you don't necessarily need practice to have knowledge. Sure, practice helps you embed that knowledge and retain it and use it, of course, but just knowledge alone does provide you knowledge. Duh. Turn the unknown into the known. This is what I wanted to pay some attention to. Right? This fast grab, brief slow, and then fast again. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about their understanding of animation. Right, we get some frames of slow-mo, essentially, to be able to figure out what's exactly happening, and then just immediately back into just, you know, mind-breaking action. I think we use slow-mo here as well, briefly. Somewhere. Rosterex. Okay. Iris Churchill. She's a Risant, 14, 159, 8th of Shannamoon. Likes capable people who strive to be capable, dislikes a certain someone her psyche utterly rejects. Red boy from the Magiavander, he seems unlikable, maybe. A particular upperclassman. Oh, and she dislikes Will. Why would she? I don't know. 4th floor, Prisma Gem Wand. 4th student at Regarded Magical Academy who loves gossip and tends to follow the crowd. She's friendly, but her social circle is broad and shallow. After being saved by the Ice Maiden Alfaria, she has deified her in her mind. Or at least that is her, like, public, you know, public appearance. It is possible that all of this information has been modified. Yeah, I mean, we see her age being scratched out. She's probably, like, 20-something or 30 and just posing as a schoolgirl. And we get this, Magiavander. The Magiavander, I mean, they're amazing, yeah? My grandpa told me that each one of them could blow the town away while picking their nose. Huh? A Magiavander of Earth? Well, I heard there was one a long time ago, but there's no way nowadays, right? I mean, the Earth faction is all doddering old men, and, you know, Earth magic is sort of, well, plain. It's not cute, so it's not popular, you know? It's the words of Rosé that we've met, who was talking to Colette in class. So what's up with Earth magic? That one throne was empty, actually, though. Yeah, right? I thought that maybe Iris is the fills the last throne here. But apparently not. Apparently she's just a spy, maybe? I don't know. Highest form of Frost Walker, 6 credits, over 5 enemies. So that's like a classification of enemies below 5 and over 5. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not gonna be going through every single bit of animation here. There's too many. Physical attacks won't work on a Frost Rex. Close combat is a no-go because if you touch it, you get frozen. Okay, yeah, I mean, makes sense. Long-range magic attacks. Just so happens that Will essentially has a long-range magic attack, right? That's basically what it is. A remote detonated fireball, basically. Yeah, the monster is not CG. Running away. Actually, I wanna check this moment. Yeah, this one. It's such a cool movement. Just slapping this onto his hand and it just, I don't know, automatically attaching itself to no discernible attachment point. And this clunk. Yeah, that's a cool moment. Those were probably the only 2 bits of animation that I wanted to stop for a moment for the grab and the attach. And also those cracks showing. I think it happens later, right? Yeah, that's also cool. Again, that anticipation and payoff, right? Cool. Cool. I thought that Will maybe is going to just prove that, yeah, physical attacks work if they are essentially ranged, right? He's gonna press a button, the string is gonna start contracting and it's gonna cut the Rex into bits. Or he's gonna heat up the line and it's gonna melt through it because it's made of ice, essentially. But now it's just, you know, good old explosive. And the rest of the string is just to immobilize it. Actually, I think this is another moment that I wanted to... Yeah, this is also cool. This twist that just... And the sound. It's like a coil whine. What is this, though? What are those fucking trigger sparkles? Like, this looks like he's about to henshin. But apparently it's... I don't know, use of sealed magic or something? Like, I would not think that setting a piece of rope on fire would be this, like, epic moment of unleashing the final magic attack, or... Right? Like, you could do it with a match, but it's just over the top in, you know, a good and fun way, but still over the top. And boom. Torus Navalde. What's that supposed to mean? Because it sounds like a cast. It sounds like Will is casting magic right now. It's an incantation of the spell called Torus Navalde. But he doesn't have magic. So did he just say the name of the magic that's embedded inside of those bowls for no, like, actual reason? Or did he actually cast magic in this moment, just unbeknownst to himself? I don't know. Some really cool backgrounds here, by the way, lit up by this explosion. And just like that, we got ourselves a piece of a monster. This is such an immediate switch. Even with that little, you know, scary jingle. Wong wong. The change in voice, change in everything. Quite a disparity between the rumors. I mean, she probably heard rumors that, oh, he's worthless, he can't use magic, he's just skimming through because, I don't know, he's just passing because Workner likes him, or whatever sort of rumor. But he actually proves to be capable, yeah? How should I report it? I really was afraid that she might be a member of some sort of a third faction, right? Like, it's common. Let's face it, it's common in Magical Academy kind of setting that there is some sort of a third faction working in the shadows, some sort of a grand conspiracy or something. And I thought that this is it. This is what's surfacing itself right now. But apparently she works for Magia Vander, so it's all fine and good. And after credits. Can't use magic, but the way he compensates is creative. Yeah, maybe it's creativity that you need, right? Like, when you get complacent in the magic that you have at your disposal, you kind of stop thinking creatively, right? Like, I have a fireball, why would I think of any other way of casting a fire projectile, right? Fireball is fine. Why would I think of fire arrow or fire barrage or fire blast or fireball mark II or whatever, right? Not so much. Well, Will shows creativity. Will and Rosti, actually. We can't give the entire credit to just Will, because it's ultimately Rosti who figured out this sort of a device. Has a nose for battle backed by experience, yeah. He might actually be a good candidate, like a good person to have with you when it's the time to face the, I don't know, whatever's floating around outside the barrier. I thought that she's either reporting to Cauldron or she's reporting to Edward. And this shot, I immediately thought, oh, student council. How do we showcase a student council in a magical academy in a world like this? Well, of course, every member of the student council has a throne of their for themselves, right? Obviously, we go over the top with the student council. Student council usually is basically second to God in anime. In any case, so might as well just showcase it. But apparently it's not the student council, it's the Magia Wander, and I see the middle throne being empty. Empty indeed. Zio Thorzeus Reinbold. That's a lot of electric things in his name. Cardiot Incendia Wise Man. I'm assuming the middle part is the title. He's Cardiot Wise Man, but because he uses fire, then he gets the title of Incendia, right? Eleanor Ilios Alf. Probably Eleanor Alf, who's an elf, by the way. Interesting, first time we see an elf. And Lios because she uses wind. Maybe. Zio Reinbold, bolt of electricity, so that alone suggests he's the electric boy, but Zio Reinbold, and I guess Thor Zeus, or Thor Zeus, however you pronounce it, because Thor, god of thunder, Zeus, god of thunder, he's two gods of thunder at the same time. And Elfaria Albis Serfort. Elfaria Serfort, yeah. Yeah, there's a discrepancy in how Annalist calls them, because Annalist says Serholt, but it's Serfort. Elfaria Serfort, Albis, title, Albis. White, blank, because white snow and white hair, and I don't know. Holding a boring meeting, merely for the sake of it, if the barrier, yeah, the word would be lost. Celestial Host, yeah, that's the name of it. Would overwhelm us with the numbers and strength we have right now. We need more promising seedlings for the fated day. We cannot allow what's written in the lore to come to pass. So I'm guessing there is some sort of a prophecy saying that the world will fall to the Celestial Host. Prophecy that the world will fall to the Celestial Host, and maybe prophecy about, well, it would put him in the area of being the chosen one, which I could, you know, take it or leave it. But maybe there's a part of the prophecy like the world will fall to the Celestial Host until he is met with a fist. And they're taking it, oh, well, fist resistance, so of course we're gonna resist with magic, but magic is too weak to defeat the Celestial Host. But it turns out, no, just a fist. Just punch the motherfucker in the face and win. Maybe. Watcher. Okay, so she's officially a Watcher. I really like this shot with some bouquet and all those other people also being seen out there to the side. The no talent who cannot use magic. Will Serfort. I was expecting a cat in to Elfaria. But no. Impossible. Be gone. Sounds like fun. I like this guy. Yeah, I really like him. He's cool. Sounds like fun. I mean, sure, whatever. It's gonna be more fun than just having those boring meetings, right? Yeah, you're all too set in your ways. I concur. I absolutely agree. I think this actually might be what's keeping the magical world at large from standing up to the celestial host. They have their ways, and they're afraid to walk, in any other direction. Right? Like, sure, you're making new magic, but, make new magic, not like a buff spell, right? Why would I need a spell that makes me more resistant to melee attacks, right? Why would I need a spell that makes me stronger? It makes no sense. Make me a new fireball instead, right? That's magic you should be working on. But maybe they should actually change their thinking. Maybe like a personal shield. Maybe actually a spell that makes you stronger. Maybe a spell that makes you faster, more agile, right? Those things maybe matter in fighting the Celestial Host. We don't know how the Celestial Host and their underlings actually fight, but maybe actually enhancing your bodies physically might be of benefit here, right? If magic doesn't cut it, well, look for other ways. Yeah, I like him. I like Tsue. Lawless Barbarian. I don't like him, though. I really don't like him. He seems super fucking shady. He's really giving me the vibes of, you know what? Of the fucking Red Ranger from... sorry, not Red Ranger. Red Keeper from Sentai Daishikaku. He's giving me heavy vibes of the Red Keeper, right? Like smiling and, taking control of the entire room and smiling politely. But deep inside, he's thinking, there's pathetic people around me. I'm not gonna allow for the fated day to come to pass. I enjoy the power I have right now way too much. I'm not gonna risk it with my life, right? Stuff like that. He really seems like this kind of a character. We can wait to make a decision until after we see those results. Right, so apparently there's gonna be some sort of a magic festival with, I don't know, three-legged races or something. But magical. I was afraid. I was afraid that Elfaria also got corrupted by the tower. That she got dragged into the kind of thinking that Eleanor and Cariot have, right, complacency and being an asshole in general. But no, she remains true to how she was. She remembers Will. She's still waiting, right? Cool, I like it. Yada, yada, yada. The eve of the Grand Festival is gonna be the next episode. Okay. So, cool episode. We got some additional bits and pieces of world building. We finally got to meet other Magia Wanders. Except the Earth. I wonder if that might actually be significant. Like, we need an Earth Magia Wander to function, to win the fight, or something like that, right? Maybe. It's also interesting that there doesn't seem to be a Magia Wander of water, right? Elfie is ice, the elf is wind, Red Boy is fire, of course, Zio is thunder. There's no element of water. Not even a throne for anybody with the element of water. Would Will take the seat potentially of the element of earth? Could that be the true strength of the element of earth? Maybe. that it can enhance your body with the power of rock and stone. Maybe. But yeah, some interesting bits of world building that really got me thinking about, the Earth Mage, about how the fight with the Celestial Host actually went, right? What did they do wrong back then, and what are they hoping to achieve before the fated day? So that's cool. I'm not sure what I think of Will getting involved with Magia Vander this early. I mean, we don't know how long is the sports festival gonna take, because it might very well take, plenty of time, and they're gonna have plenty of time to build that up. I'd rather they don't do something like, you know what, Will? We can take you to be a Magia Vander after all. Join us in the tower. And his goal is fulfilled by the end of the season, and then he has to get another goal. I'd honestly rather he continues being against the grain. I think that's the biggest thing here. I enjoy myself a protagonist who works against the grain, right? Soul warrior in the world of mages. Absolutely. The only user of status effect magic in a world where everybody uses immediate damage magic. Sure, sign me the fuck up. The only mage who is fighting in close quarters where everybody else uses wands, right? Stuff like that. I really like it when the main character, the protagonist, works against the grain and continues to do so. Right? I wouldn't like it if Will were to actually join the ranks of Magia Vander. I'd rather he either gets the proposition and rejects it, or doesn't get the offer in the first place, and continues being the fighter, the warrior, and perhaps finds another way. That would be my preference. But of course, it could go any which way. We really don't have that much information to go off on, do we? We don't even know what the fuck the Celestial Host is. Is it an army of zombies? Is it an army of flying dragons? Is it an army of biblically accurate angels? We don't know that, right? We don't, I can't even theorize about what would it take to actually defeat the Celestial Host. So we're gonna need much more world building here for me to make any sort of proper theory crafting on the topic. I have no doubt that it's gonna come in time, though. I would really like to know how long this season's gonna be, but we don't know that. I mean, we don't even know how long is Bye Bye Earth gonna be either. There's speculation that it's gonna be 20 episodes, but I don't think anything's been confirmed. So, a lot of shows that don't have the amount of episodes confirmed, and I wonder why. I really wonder why. Isn't it one of the first things that you figure out, how many episodes do you need to cover the story, because you have to budget for this many episodes and you have to sign deals with the TV stations to get this many slots and stuff like that, right? Doesn't it look like that? I don't know. I mean, I don't know particularly well how anime is produced. I guess I have to watch Shirobako, huh? Right, cool episode, some nice fight. I like Will's use of magical tools. I like Rosti, who makes Will magical tools. Cool, I wish I knew Rosti's VA, but not listed anywhere, so what can you do? Maybe it's gonna be, maybe they're gonna be listed over time, we'll see. And I really hope that this show doesn't lose its gimmick. That this story doesn't lose its gimmick. I've seen way too many stories in general, because most of those in manga, where there's a gimmick of, the weakest hero rejected by the council, and by chapter 15 by chapter 2 it turns out that he's actually the strongest, and by chapter 15 he gets the place on the council anyway, and the gimmick is kind of lost. So I hope it doesn't happen here. We'll see though. Again, only time will tell. But right now, I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. Say so in the comments down below. What did you... yeah? Click the bell. Like this video. What's going on with me today? It's the heat. I'm gonna say it's the heat. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Wistoria but also Washio, Spice and Wolf, Shy, Bye Bye Earth, QA Isekai, and the one with Osamu Dazai. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do sometimes, and when those videos go out, of course, you're gonna get a nice little notification. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Washio, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube through membership, super thanks, super chats, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without the Ned, Zarena, Yuki Alai, Dr. Watt, Friedrich Jung, Akamaster, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to kill any ice monsters.